Welcome to People with Purpose. I am your host, Sylvain Rochon. I'm a speaker, an author, a serial entrepreneur, and a business strategist. My purpose is to engineer a paradise on Earth using cutting-edge technology. I hope this show will give you excellent examples of individuals that chose to do great things in their personal and professional lives. Perhaps they will inspire you to follow in their footsteps. The show's format is very simple. I ask my guests 3 simple questions. What is your personal purpose? Why is it important to you? And how did you get started? Now let's hear from our guest.
Hello, Gerd. Good morning.
Hey there.
Audience, this is Gerd Leonhard. He is a futurist, a humanist, keynote speaker, and a filmmaker. He's also the CEO of the Futures Agency and author of Technology versus Humanity, a book that I believe is really important for us these days as a futurist. I think that's really a great angle. And this is going to come out, I'm sure, in what Gerd is going to talk about. But first, Gerd, could you tell us what the Futures Agency is? What does it do?
Well, the Futures Agency has grown a lot in the last 6 or 7 years. It's essentially a global network, a band of futurists, a network. We work together with clients to discover the future, to create new future plans, to rethink what they currently are doing. There's 47 of us, and includes people like Len Heemstra, futurist.com, and Ross Dawson, and many others. And we collaborate, we try to help each other, and also, of course, speaking engagements, workshops, and seminars, and what we call futurizing, which is to discover a path into the future with the company. And that requires a lot of knowledge, but also understanding and human skills and stuff. So that's kind of a global network. Thefuturesagency.com has more details.
Very cool, very cool. And I'm putting up the link so people can go chase that, no problem. Now, Gerd, we want to go into who you are a little bit. I'd like to ask you, just as part of the purpose of the Peoples with Purpose series, is we'd like to know what motivates you. So we'd like to know, what's your personal purpose in your life in general?
Okay, I think my primary purpose is to collect the air miles, when flying. Just kidding. That seems that way sometimes because I fly crazy trips, like one-day trips somewhere. But basically, I think my job is to make a difference in people's perception of the future and their emphasis on what is important to the future. I think basically technology is just about to get to that point to where anything that we want is becoming possible. Right now, it's still not at that point. Language recognition doesn't really work fully. Machines aren't fully intelligent and so on. But in 10 years, basically tech can do anything, literally anything. And in 20, 30, 40 years, brain uploading, space travel, right? I mean, it's not futuristic, it's quite real. So at a certain point, we have to think about who we want to be and what makes us human, what keeps us human. So there may be a few things that we don't do because they wouldn't be human or they would not keep us human. And that is kind of my main discussion about, how do we use technology to actually flourish ourselves rather than create a system of machines, which is very tempting because it makes so much money. And part of that is the economic shift to this triple bottom line of people, planet, profit, which is about human flourishing rather than stock market flourishing. So that's kind of my mission, to make a difference, to help people understand those kind of things, and also to help companies reinvent, to focus on humanity on top of technology. In other words, if you don't use technology as a company, you're probably not going to survive anyway. But technology by itself, it won't save the day. It's just a tool. And in the end, you have to be creating human values. And that is really what it comes down to for a lot of companies. They're having great trouble with that idea of human values as a business principle.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, it's you're all about putting humans first and the human values first and human well-being first, and technology is at the service of that purpose, essentially.
Yes, well, it's quite clear that these days technology is becoming its own purpose. Look at Facebook, for example. Facebook is not the purpose to help us; it has its own purpose, which is to data mine us, right? To feed of us. That's why we're using it. And then mobile phones have become their own way of addiction, and and it's not necessarily bad at this point. But if you look on the exponential scale, in 10 years, it could lead to sort of automated society, a dehumanized society. And I think that would be very bad because if technology becomes the purpose, then it's basically end of the road for us, because then we become technology, which means we become a commodity, which means we cease to exist sooner or later.
Well, that's Elon Musk's argument, in fact, right? That he says, if we don't direct ourselves in a proper way, we're going, AI and these advancements in technologies will be our undoing.
But he comes from the angle of existential risk.
Yeah, that's true.
I come from the angle of I think right now this is really just social, cultural, political risk primarily, because machines aren't anywhere close to that thing happening of super intelligence. And this is like nuclear power, really, at that point. Nuclear fusion and bombs, of course. We have non-proliferation treaties for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind of working, except for North Korea, but they haven't used the bomb yet, right? So it is working, and we have to do the same about AI, and that's where I agree with Elon. I don't think that right now we are at the point where we have to say that machines will be capable of any such thing or will have any such intention. Or right now, this is really just about social implications and political and work implications about how we dehumanize ourselves. Because we machines.
However, the decisions of today regarding AI and the AI arms race, for example, will impact our future, because regulation takes time, and when countries get into the habit of competing against each other with these kind of technologies, it can get to a really bad place eventually. And as a futurist, I do advocate. I do talk a lot about that as well. That's how we got connected, in fact.
I think there's no question. There's no question about
ideologies. Go ahead.
It's a major challenge, I think, for us to realize that we can use these new technologies like genomic engineering, geoengineering, renewable energy, to our common good, and then we would have to distribute the benefits of them, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of against the capitalist concept that you own the tax, so you get all the money, and that just won't work here.
That's right.
That tech is going to be fundamental to like desalination and renewable energy and genome editing, and we can't just pursue the same path and selling mobile phones. That is just that's a fundamentally human challenge, I think, also in our economic system.
Absolutely. Now, why is this this concept? Again, it's the title of your book, Humanity versus Technology, and this concept of humanity first in a way, and then really taking care of each other. Why is this so important to you personally?
Well, I think that of course, my background is in humanities, right? I was a student of philosophy, theology when I was a kid, and then I became a musician. I studied music, so I come from humanities, and I think it has always been more important for me to think about what the human standpoint is than rather what the technical imperative is. Having said that, I was in the internet startup business. I understand tech. Most of my clients are tech. But I think for me, it's most important to really follow the principle of philosophy, which says that technology is not what we seek, but how we seek. Right?
That's right.
I think if technology is what we seek, then you're going to be a transhumanist and merge with technology. That is just fantastic, but it's primarily a business. It's not. I think it's not really a human destination in the sense of what we should aspire to. And I think that's where I disagree with most of Silicon Valley futurists about the need of merging and becoming superhuman, as they like to say, transcending humanity, right? And so for me, I think we need to find our humanity again, which is the number one reason why technology is so helpful. Right? But if we then confuse it with other people, if we build more relationships with screens than we do with people, then we're perverting the tool that we have invented. Right?
The trend that I see, so you so eloquently point out, is that a lot of technologists are trying to merge us with technology, or sometimes in a competition with technology. AI is going to advance faster. We need to become cyborgs as an argument, right, to compete. Well, what is the benefit to humans to compete? We're perfect. We can be perfectly happy and content and really, really great the way we are. Why don't we just collaborate and partner with technology instead? And I think that's part of your point.
It's a natural human inclination is to take shortcuts and to, I mean, we are inherently lazy in that regard, that, you know, if something can be done quicker or with a tool, then we use a tool, which is okay when you're making a fire or using a tool to get the grapes from the tree, right? But when it's about reaching some sort of philosophical happiness point, you know, then happiness involves a process and an effort. And if you use technology to shortcut, to make a wormhole, what's called wormholing, right? I call that. Then okay, you can have a relationship with a robot, and maybe that makes you happy on some sort of level. But you know, in the end, you become a robot, right? And so there's a question of what do you want. If that's okay with you, then, you know, be my guest. But we shouldn't make that the new normal. Like, just like the new normal is to have 1,000 friends on Facebook, but no real actual friend, you know. I mean, that is just ridiculous as a concept, because, you know, it's the economic pressure of how much money that will make. I mean, I like to say that replacing humanity with technology will probably make, you know, $500 trillion of new revenue streams. But, you know, what's the point of doing that when we're no longer alive?
That's right. Exactly. No, it's a powerful point. Now, you mentioned that you come from humanities, right? Like, as far as your education in Europe, I think is it Austria or
Germany.
Germany. And so this kind of level of concern, you know, looking at technology, looking at human beings, and the paradigms that you're talking about now, where does this care, I suppose, to become a professional advocate of humanity in a way? Where does it come from? Like, where did you get? Do you think you got the drive to do what you do? Where does it come from? From, if you look in your past.
Well, I think, you know, that because of my background, I've always been more concerned with experiences and human things than with the tech, even though I've been quite good at tech. You know, as a musician, you're always into tech as well. But I think over the last 10 years of doing, you know, 1,000 keynote speeches or something, I realized at a certain point that the really important question is not the question about how you're going to make more money with your company. That is what companies think is the most important question. But the most important question is how you reach some sort of contentment with who you are and what you do, what you can do. You know, a larger story. I mean, I'm not religious. My background is, you know, I'm sort of, I'm open to all these discussions about spiritual things, but that's not really my motivation. I think I'm primarily a humanist in the sense of saying, you know, does this actually help us as people? And I think it comes from that angle of having experienced how that works. And as a musician, you know, when you're playing a band, you don't calculate the return of your lead guitar solo, you know, in monetary values. You know, this is an experience, and the experience may have monetary value, or it may not, or it may be temporary. Right? Yeah. And that's the great thing about art. You know, it just kind of goes by. Right? And that is the human aspect of how we do things. You know, it just happens, it goes by, and then we can't repeat it, and that's it. Right? We are just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I've been observing you and following you for a while. I don't know, maybe 6 months, a year, I forget. I think this is a wonderful message. I think you are a model of a futurist. Compared to some in Silicon Valley, I think your approach is really, really healthy, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because you are indeed one of those models. I think others, especially the young, that they could follow, because that's what we need. We need to enhance our humanity, not by becoming cyborgs, but by liberating ourselves and allowing ourselves to flourish as humans and become happier. And that's so important to me. So thanks you, Gerd, for being on the show. Hopefully this is going to be inspirational to a few people, a little bit of influence, another drop in the ocean, so to speak. And maybe we will be able to achieve our goal of having a great humanity that is where the free mind, creative, with technology at their service, because we don't want to do all the repetitive stuff that could be done by robots, and that's the good part. But we do want to remain human and just enjoy life. So thanks again.
You're welcome.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share. Please join me also on Clubify, a social app allowing us to share ideas and where you can participate in some of my projects. The link is in the section below. Also, if you wish to recommend someone great I should interview, please let me know. And as always, follow your passion. See you next week.